For everyone listening, I'm Jared.
And I'm Alicia.
Welcome, everyone, to Vibrations and
Hey
Manifestations.
there. So today we're doing a deep dive into something one of you asked, which is great.
Yeah, love getting listener questions. What's the topic?
The question was basically this: how can I feel better by telling a new story? Isn't that just, lying about my circumstances?
That's a really good one. A really common sticking point, I think.
Totally. It gets right to the heart of how much power do we actually have over our own experience versus just reacting to facts?
Exactly. And it's where these ideas from, say, Abraham Hicks meet. Well, what science is starting to understand about the brain and narrative.
So that's our mission today, right? To kind of unpack that, explore it using Abraham Hicks, bring in some science, and see what practical stuff we can take away.
Sounds good. Let's jump in.
Okay, so Abraham Hicks talks a lot about this difficulty, right? Why it's hard to tell a new, better feeling story.
Yeah, they basically say it's because the old story, the negative one, is just so practiced. It's like a groove you've worn down.
Like a default pathway. Even if you mean to think differently, you just sort of snap back.
You do. You find yourself telling the same old tale, maybe even just in your head.
But here's a key point they make. Knowing what you don't want automatically means you know what you do want.
Right. So there are always two stories available in any situation. The unwanted one and the wanted one that's implied by it.
So the work isn't about denying the old story exists, but more about gently translating it, shifting focus.
Yeah, translating is a good word. Gradually giving the new story more airtime, more energy, until it becomes the dominant one.
Okay, but let's hit that core concern. Is this just lying, pretending things are great when they're, well, not?
That's the crux, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Abraham Hicks tackles this directly. They say the news story isn't the story of what has been. That's history.
It's what? The story of the future.
Kind of. It's the story of what's becoming. Or, I love this phrase, the story of creation, not the story of regurgitation.
Ooh, regurgitation. Yeah, that paints a picture. So focusing on creation, on where you're going, not just endlessly rehashing the past.
Exactly. Because, as they point out, constantly talking about the old story, even if it's for laughs or sympathy,
Mm-hmm.
it just keeps you vibrationally stuck there. It
Oh,
doesn't actually help close the gap between where you are and where you want to be.
makes sense. Like complaining about the rain doesn't make the sun come out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Which leads to this idea of giving yourself permission to tell the new story, like actively demanding it from yourself.
Demanding it. That sounds strong.
Well, yeah, like saying, look, this old story, it's boring. It's not getting me anywhere I want to go. I'm done with it.
Okay, I like that framing.
Yeah.
Taking back control of the narrative.
The key thing, I think, is that your thoughts aren't just reflecting what is, they're building it. That's the power.
Yeah.
And maybe the pitfall.
Right? Totally. The pitfall of just letting that old story run on autopilot.
Right. So to make this really clear, let's picture someone. Let's call her Sophie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine Sophie waking up. First thing, that heavy feeling, exhausted. And her immediate thought is something like, oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah, that sinking feeling.
That thought, that simple expectation, it starts setting her vibrational tone for the entire day. It's like tuning a radio to a gloomy station.
And then almost like clockwork, the day seems to prove her right. She's rushing, maybe spills coffee.
Uh-huh. Right before a big meeting or something, more stress.
Then she remembers, oh gosh, that email she forgot to send. So now she feels incompetent, overwhelmed.
Mhm. And later, she checks her bank account. And it's that same old sigh, like, I work so hard, but I just cannot get ahead.
Listen to those words, though. Cannot. Never. They're so final.
Exactly. They lock her into that feeling, that stuckness.
Yeah.
And it spills out, you know. She might actually say to a friend, honestly, it feels like the universe is just against me.
Oh, yeah. Like every time something good almost happens, bam, something else falls apart. What's the point?
That's it. That's her core story. Nothing ever works out for me.
And it's like she's put on these, I don't know, negativity glasses
Hmm.
when that story is running the show.
Her mind actually looks for proof. It's filtering reality.
Right. So a compliment from her boss, whoosh, right over her head, doesn't even register.
Or, maybe a really interesting opportunity lands in her inbox, but she just glances at it thinking, nah, probably won't work out anyway, and deletes it.
Still focused on what's wrong. And if a friend tries to connect, maybe offer support.
She might brush them off. Oh, I'm just too snowed under, or you wouldn't understand,
Yeah.
because she's so wrapped up in her perceived problems.
And what's so wild is how this focus just keeps it going.
It perpetuates the cycle. It's not some cosmic curse against Sophie.
No.
It's her consistent attention, her dominant thoughts about the negative that actually draws more struggle to her. It's a self-fulfilling thing.
And that vibration you mentioned, it's like the overall energy she's putting out, right? Based on that story?
Yeah, think of it like that. A negative story creates this lower, less receptive energy,
Mhm.
less open to good things.
So if she keeps going down this road, living inside this story, what's the likely future look like?
Well, sadly, it's probably more of the same. She'll keep missing chances because she's just not looking for them, or she discounts them immediately.
Burnout seems likely too. Always focusing on the struggle.
Definitely a risk. Dwelling on the difficulty instead of looking for solutions or even just accepting help. And the worst part,
What's that?
in her mind, every new setback just becomes more proof. See, life is against me. It's a really tough cycle.
But breakable.
Absolutely breakable.
Okay, so let's flip it. Let's rewrite Sophie's story. Same start. She wakes up tired.
Right, the tiredness is still there.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, her thought is different. Maybe something like, okay, body's asking for rest.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can still show up today.
Ah, see that. Acknowledging the feeling, but without the negative prediction attached. That's a big shift already.
Huge shift. Then, okay, the coffee spill still happens. Life happens, right?
Right.
But instead of the usual, ugh, typical, she pauses, takes a breath, maybe even manages a little chuckle, thinking.
Well, I guess I needed a wardrobe change anyway. Something like that.
Exactly, that reframing, finding a slightly better feeling angle or even just a neutral one, it stops that negative cascade right in its tracks.
And then throughout the day, that internal voice keeps shifting. Work challenge comes up.
Instead of, I can't handle this, she reminds herself, hang on, I've handled tough stuff before. I always find a way through.
Oh, I like that. Always find a way through.
Or if there's a setback, instead of it's ruined, maybe it's, okay, this chapter isn't the whole story. This is just, the plot twist before things get better.
Again, the language is key, isn't it? Plot twist, getting better. It implies resilience, hope.
And it's not just internal chatter. She might actually start saying things differently out loud, like to a coworker, maybe, I'm actually feeling like things are starting to look up, trying to lean into that.
Vocalizing it, putting that different energy out there.
Yeah, it matters. This news story, it's like a different tuning fork now. It's vibrating with, well, hope, possibility, resilience.
So how does that version of Sophie experience her day compared to the old one?
It's a whole different resonance. Now, the boss gives a compliment. She hears it. She lets it in, feels it maybe. Hey, yeah, I did do well on that.
Okay. And that opportunity email?
This time, she doesn't just glance. She reads it. Feels a flicker of interest. Huh. Maybe. And she follows up. It leads to an interview. A potential new door opens.
Wow. And the friend who calls?
She calls back. And she's present in the conversation, shares a bit of her hopefulness, and actually feels lighter, more connected afterwards.
It's really something how that internal shift ripples outward. Makes you think, doesn't it? How many good things do we miss just because our default story is kind of negative?
So many, probably. And let's be super clear for everyone listening. Her problems didn't just vanish into thin air.
No magic wand.
No, life still has its challenges. But Sophie's focus shifted, her energy shifted. And the result of that,
It becomes magnetic, you said.
yeah, it starts attracting different things, different interactions, different opportunities. Not because life suddenly got perfect, but because she's now tuned in, she's receptive to the good stuff that was probably there all along.
But you couldn't see it before.
Couldn't see it, couldn't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Her new focus creates this higher, more receptive vibration, if you like.
Which leads to this really, really crucial point for anyone listening right now. You don't have to wait for your circumstances to change before you start telling a different story.
No, it's the other way around, often. Telling the new story is what creates the path for the change.
That's huge. Now, Abraham Hicks talks about this, right? How it can feel hard sometimes because the old story is just so practiced.
Oh, yeah, it's like a deep groove in your brain. It feels familiar, even if it feels bad. But the core idea, and this is so helpful, is that if you know what you don't want,
Like Sophie knowing she doesn't want things to always go wrong.
exactly, then you automatically, inherently know what you do want. You want things to work out. You want ease.
So there are always two stories available. Always.
Always. The one you're focusing on, and its opposite, the desire. So that process of translating the old one, that's key.
Taking Sophie's life sucks and turning it into what?
Maybe something gentle at first, like, okay, things are looking up, or life's actually pretty good sometimes, or maybe bolder. Life is getting better for me all the time.
It's a conscious shift. But you mentioned sometimes that new story, it doesn't feel as satisfying initially.
Right. Because the old one, the dramatic one, has all this emotional charge from repetition. It feels real because you've practiced feeling that way.
The comfort is just familiarity, not actual benefit.
Precisely. You've wired yourself to expect it, even look for evidence for it.
Yeah.
But the new story, it doesn't have to be this wild, unbelievable fantasy, especially at the beginning.
It's about what's becoming.
Yes, focus on what's becoming. It's the story of creation, not just rehashing the past.
Abraham Hicks is pretty direct about this, isn't she? Like, just drop the old story.
It's very direct. Basically says, that old story is boring and unproductive. Tell the new one. The advice is often to just start with the feeling of the new story. Don't keep dragging the old baggage into it for context.
So, like, if you want your son to prosper, focus on his strength, his desire, how well he's doing now in your mind.
Exactly. Tell that story. Just that story. Don't feel the need to add, even though he struggled last year, just the positive narrative.
And when you consistently do that for yourself, tell your own new story. It can actually influence others.
It can. When you're vibrating with that positive expectation, others can start to resonate with it.
Yeah.
It's like opening this vortex, this space where those positive possibilities can gather momentum for everyone involved. It's quite amazing.
But okay, let's be real. It's easy to slip back, right, into the old ways of thinking, the old attitude.
Oh, totally natural. You find yourself worrying about your brother again, maybe? Falling into the old story about his problems?
So what do you do then?
Gently redirect. What do you want for him? Focus on that. See him happy. See him at peace in your mind's eye. Focus on the desired outcome, not the current circumstance.
So for anyone listening, thinking about relationships, it's about the potential, the future you want.
Yes. Use your desire for how that relationship feels as the foundation. How do you want to feel about your mother, your boss, your partner? Decide that first.
You dictate the feeling you want.
You dictate it. And the relationship, the circumstances, they have to eventually morph to align with that dominant feeling you're holding. Don't get caught up in trying to control their free will. Focus on your feeling about it.
You conjure the image, the feeling that matches what your inner being or source knows is possible.
And you find pleasure in that thought, that image. That's where the power is. That influences the outcome.
Okay, so what about this idea of sloppy thinking? What does that mean here?
Sloppy thinking is basically just inconsistency. It's letting your focus jump back and forth between what you desire and all your doubts and fears about it.
Like trying to listen to 2 radio stations at once.
Exactly. The signal gets weak, fuzzy. You can't really hold a strong desire and a strong doubt powerfully at the exact same moment. One will dominate.
So the key is to give more airtime.
More airtime, more focus, more feeling good time to the desire. And the doubt just, it becomes irrelevant. It fades out because it's not getting the energy.
But what about when you have those moments? You feel aligned, things start happening, and then boom, you fall back into old habits.
That happens. Sometimes, I think. People they force the manifestation. They get a taste of what they want. Maybe something small shows up.
Yeah.
And then they grab onto it with anxiety, like, oh my God, I have to make this work. Don't mess it up. And that anxious energy, that lack of trust, can actually push it away again or make it feel less satisfying when it does arrive.
So you get the thing, but it doesn't feel as good as you thought.
Right. It's like focusing only on fixing a throbbing toe instead of cultivating an overall feeling of well-being first.
Yeah.
Get the general feeling right. Then the specifics sort themselves out more easily.
That makes sense. And what about wanting to, like, pull away from certain people? Is that just running away?
Maybe not. It could be your inner guidance saying, hey, this isn't a vibrational match anymore. It's not necessarily judging them as bad people.
It's just not aligned with your new story, your new vibration.
Exactly. You're moving away from the mismatch towards what feels better, what aligns with where you're heading. Now, if you find the same unwanted situation popping up again and again,
Yeah, why does that happen?
usually it's because consciously or unconsciously, you're giving more thought, more attention, more energy to what you don't want than to what you do want.
Even if you think you're just being realistic or observing what is.
Especially then, you become a really good observer of the unwanted reality, which just keeps creating more unwanted reality. Your dominant vibration is tuned to lack or problem. Remember the now, your current point of focus, that's your power point.
So past stuff doesn't have to keep repeating.
No. Past manifestations will shift if you change your dominant focus now.
And conversations with others, they can pull you back too.
Oh, definitely. People have their own dominant vibrations, their own practice stories. Talking with them, especially if they're focused on negativity or problems, can easily reactivate those old patterns in you if you're not mindful.
So pay attention to the stories you tell over and over.
Yes. Repetition builds power. It makes that story, that thought pattern, a stronger point of attraction. It solidifies it into a belief. And really, the only significant problem we ever face is having powerful beliefs that directly oppose our powerful desires. That's the tug of war.
So if someone's feeling like unworthy, I must not deserve good things, what's a way to handle that?
Instead of trying to force I am worthy, which might feel like a lie,
Yeah.
soften it first. Try shifting I must be unworthy to something slightly less absolute, like, okay, maybe I'm just a sloppy thinker sometimes, or I'm inconsistent in my focus.
That feels less definitive, more about a habit than an identity.
Right. It takes the sting out. Then you can soften it again. I'm inconsistent sometimes, but I'm learning. I'm getting more deliberate all the time. And from there, it's easier to gently shift focus back to your desires and to start looking for tiny bits of evidence that your clearer thought is starting to work.
It's a gradual easing into a better feeling.
Exactly. Feeling good, feeling even slightly better, that's the main job. Because the manifestation, the thing you desire, it has to follow the feeling, the alignment. It just has to. Now, let's shift gears a bit. What does, science say about all this? Does any of this hold up from a different perspective?
Yeah, this is where it gets super interesting because there's actually a lot of overlap. Think about neuroplasticity.
The brain changing itself.
Exactly. Our brains physically change based on our repeated thoughts and experiences, those stories we tell ourselves. They're literally building neural pathways.
So the old negative story isn't just a bad habit. It's like a well-paved road in your brain.
Totally. Easy to drive down without thinking. And then there's the reticular activating system, the RAS.
The brain's filter.
Right. It's like the bouncer for your attention.
Yeah.
It prioritizes information that matches what you already believe or focus on.
So if I believe people are generally untrustworthy,
Your RAS is more likely to flag instances that seem to confirm that and maybe ignore the trustworthy interactions. It looks for proof of your existing beliefs.
like when you decide you want a certain car and suddenly you see it everywhere.
Exactly that. It was always there, but your RAS wasn't filtering for it before. So changing your story, your focus, literally changes what your brain highlights for you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. How does gratitude fit in? Because that feels related to telling a positive story.
It totally is. Gratitude is focusing on the positive story. And the research here is pretty compelling.
Yeah. What does it show?
Well, a big review in 2023 found gratitude practices significantly boost life satisfaction and reduce anxiety and depression.
Okay, so feeling better overall.
But also, brain scans show gratitude meditation actually improves emotional self-regulation. It changes connectivity in brain regions tied to emotion and motivation.
Wow, so it's physically changing how the brain manages feelings.
Seems like it. Plus, practicing gratitude activates reward pathways, more dopamine, more serotonin, feel-good chemicals.
Nice.
And interestingly, grateful people show more activity in brain areas linked to altruism. So it might even make us, nicer.
Huh. Bonus benefit. Okay, what about things like narrative therapy? That sounds directly related.
It is. Narrative therapy is all about helping people rewrite their life stories, especially ones that are maybe unhelpful or stigmatizing.
Reauthoring their lives.
Exactly. And some studies suggest it can foster more hope and optimism than even CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. You deconstruct the negative story to make space for a preferred one.
So actively choosing the pen and writing a new chapter.
You got it. And this links to the neuroplastic narrative theory.
Okay, new term for me.
It suggests bad experiences can wire our brains to anticipate more bad experiences, like bracing for impact.
A negative anticipation loop.
Right. But deliberately telling positive stories can create virtuous cycles instead. Training the brain to anticipate and look for the good stuff, your brain records the past and expects it to repeat.
Unless you consciously feed it a different expectation, a new story.
Exactly. And resilience research backs this up too. Storytelling helps kids reduce anxiety, manage emotions better. Even simple fables help us process tough things symbolically.
So, circling back to the original question, telling a new story isn't lying.
No, from this perspective, it's more like brain training. You're training your RAS, you're building new neural pathways, you're actively working to see and receive a different reality.
Okay, that reframe feels really powerful. It's not denial, it's construction, building something new.
Yeah. So let's make this even more practical. How can someone listening actually start shifting their own stories? Those personal stories examples were good.
Right, like shifting from, I always mess things up, that feels so final, like an identity.
Totally. versus something like, I'm growing into someone I trust. It acknowledges maybe past mess ups, but focuses on the process of growth.
Yeah, it separates the facts of the past from who you are becoming or the relationship one. I always attract emotionally unavailable people.
Oof, yeah, that's a common one.
Shifting that to, I am a magnet for deep, secure love. It changes the focus from blame or pattern spotting to your own inherent worthiness and expectation.
Big difference. Same with money, right? I'm not good with money.
Such a limiting belief. Compared to, say, money loves showing up for me. It tackles that scarcity mindset head on and creates a feeling, an expectation of abundance,
And the body image one is huge too, from I hate my body.
which is so harsh and punishing.
Or something gentler, like my body is worthy of my kindness.
Yeah,
It shifts from judgment to compassion, appreciating what it does.
absolutely. And look, these new stories, they probably will feel awkward at first, maybe even phony.
Like wearing clothes that aren't quite your style yet.
Exactly. But the key is practice, consistent practice. And this is crucial, actively looking for tiny bits of evidence that support the new story.
Feeding the RAS something new to find.
You got it. Which loops back perfectly to Abraham Hicks.
Huh?
Practice the new story, the new feeling, until it becomes believable, until it's your dominant vibration.
They also talk about sloppy thinking, right? That inconsistency.
Yeah, falling back into the old mental ruts. That inconsistency really slows things down. They even caution against trying to force a manifestation before you're really feeling aligned.
Why is that?
Because you might manifest something kind of close, but off. Something that reflects the mixed vibration, and then it's harder to shift
Yeah.
because it feels like reality.
So focus first on feeling good, feeling aligned internally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because what you focus on, what you talk about, that becomes your dominant point of attraction. You're co-creating all the time with your thoughts and conversation.
So be deliberate, be intentional.
Right. And if you catch yourself in negative self-talk, like, ugh, I must be unworthy,
Yeah.
Abraham Hicks suggests softening it. Don't jump straight to affirmations you don't believe. Maybe start with, okay, I'm being a bit of a sloppy thinker here.
A bit more neutral.
Then maybe I'm just being inconsistent in my thought. But I'm getting more deliberate. Gently guiding yourself back towards focusing on your desires and looking for evidence of clarity.
It's a process of gentle redirection, not self-attack.
Exactly. Because feeling good is the whole point. The manifestation is just the proof. Worthiness isn't earned. It's about alignment with who you really are and what you desire.
Okay, now let's talk about contrast. Sometimes things, well, they suck. How does that fit?
Abraham Hicks calls it contrast, variety, and harmony. Contrast, the stuff you don't like, is actually essential, they say.
Essential how?
It helps you clarify precisely what you do want. It launches the desire. It helps create your unique vortex of what you're asking for.
So challenges aren't failures, they're data points, clarifiers.
Pretty much. And then the law of attraction brings the harmony based on the clarity born from that contrast.
Yes.
And contrast is part of growth, part of discovering your worthiness, and that the universe is cooperative.
But if I keep focusing on the contrast, the problem,
Then you stay vibrationally tuned to it, right? And the harmony, the solution, can't easily reach you.
so the key is shifting focus off the problem and onto the desired solution or just anything that feels better.
Exactly. Deliberately focus on the best parts of your life, find thoughts that feel even slightly better, raise your vibration, and the law of attraction naturally moves you to a better feeling place, a different reality.
What about feeling guilty? Like if my contrast affects someone else?
Yeah, that comes up. Abraham Hicks reminds us, you're always doing the best you know how. Your intentions are usually good. And crucially, you cannot take responsibility for how others feel.
Yeah, that's a tough one sometimes.
It is. But focusing forward on your own path is more helpful than getting bogged down in past judgments or trying to manage others' emotions.
Which sounds like the path of least resistance.
Right. Which doesn't mean no resistance ever, but that your inner being is always guiding you around obstacles, gently, towards your desires, without judgment.
So stop beating myself up for past struggles.
Please, listen to that inner guidance now. Value the past experiences for the clarity they gave you, but focus on moving forward with that new desire. And again, think about the science gratitude, even for tough lessons, rewires the brain.
Okay, wow. That ties it all together nicely. Feeling better, telling a new story. It's not about pretending. It's about actively creating from the inside out.
Beautifully put. Shall we put this into practice with some appreciation?
Yes. Let's do it. Let's guide everyone listening, that's you, through a quick rampage of appreciation. Let's just get that positive energy flowing.
All right, I'll start. Um, I appreciate the feeling of a fresh start in the morning. That possibility.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate the quiet, just the quiet sometimes before the world wakes up.
I love that I can actually shift my mood just by deciding to appreciate something, anything.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate trusting that life is, generally unfolding okay, even when I can't see the whole picture.
I love random acts of kindness, seeing them or doing them, just that little boost.
I appreciate curiosity, the desire to learn and understand more.
Laughter. Oh my gosh, I appreciate genuine, uncontrollable laughter.
Yes. And perfectly timed songs on the radio.
Totally. I love the feeling of alignment I get when reading something that just clicks.
I appreciate the feeling of being a work in progress, that it's okay not to have it all figured out, that worthiness is inherent.
Yes, I appreciate knowing I have the power inside me to feel good no matter what's happening outside.
And seeing that inner feeling reflected back in small ways in the world.
I appreciate my own inner strength, even when I forget it's there.
I love random smiles from strangers, just that little connection.
I appreciate that I'm always evolving, always becoming more.
I appreciate the power of this present moment.
Right.
Right now. It's all there is.
And how appreciation just compounds. The more you do it, the more you find to appreciate.
Okay, so right now, wherever you are listening, take a second, join in. What's working for you? What feels good? What do you love?
Say it out loud, whisper it, write it down, just feel it.
Because practicing this, really leaning into appreciation, makes telling that news story so much easier. It just improves life, period.
It really does. You are fundamentally a creative genius. You're designed to turn thoughts into things. Mastering this process, understanding your own power through the stories you tell, that's meant to be the joy of it all.
The story isn't just looking back, it's actively writing the future.
That's it, perfectly. It's the blueprint for what's becoming.
Okay. So, on that powerful note, let's give everyone listening something really practical to take away. We talked about vibration.
And a key way to raise that vibration, to tune yourself to attract more good stuff, is appreciation. Simple, powerful appreciation.
So, here's the encouragement, the challenge for this week. Every single day, make a conscious effort to tell your better feeling story about whatever is important to you right now.
And at this, spend just 1 minute, that's it, 60 seconds, doing what some call a rampage of appreciation.
Okay, like what? Give us some
Oh,
examples.
anything. Start simple, appreciate waking up, appreciate that first cup of tea or coffee, how it tastes, how it
Well,
feels.
The warmth of the sun, maybe?
Huh?
Or just a quiet moment before the day gets busy.
Yeah. Appreciate your ability to even choose a different thought,
Yeah.
your ability to shift your mood. Appreciate a deep breath.
Maybe appreciate a kindness someone showed you, or even just appreciating your own effort, your self-compassion as you practice this stuff.
Absolutely. Appreciate your curiosity. Appreciate laughter when it happens. Those little synchronistic moments, like when the perfect song comes on the radio.
Or you open a book to just the right page.
Yes. Appreciate that feeling of alignment when you notice it, even fleetingly. Appreciate being a work in progress.
Yeah, that's a good one. Appreciate your intuition when you get those little nudges.
Appreciate unexpected joy. Appreciate this present moment right now. And appreciate the knowing that the more you appreciate, the more abundance in all forms flows to you.
So you can speak it out loud, maybe while you're driving or in the shower, or just jot it down quickly.
Whatever works.
Mm.
Just get into that feeling of appreciation for that minute. Because, like Abraham Hicks says, and this is our quote for the week, start telling a better feeling story about the things that are important to you.
Powerful advice. We really hope you'll try this out. Share this deep dive if it resonated, and feel free to connect with us.
And definitely join us next time as we dig into another aspect of consciously creating a life you truly love. Until then, keep practicing that new story.